Welcome to the Inside the U live postgame show. The Miami Hurricanes win 16-7 in their regular season finale. Miami did everything they could today. Now they wait to see if they will win the ACC title. They need Virginia Tech to lose to Duke. Currently, Virginia Tech is leading 4-2 in the top of the fifth, but that game has been in a weather delay for about the past hour. We will definitely give you live coverage of that. I'll provide updates on that. And certainly we'll get to Gino DiMare and players after this one as soon as the players are available through Zoom calls. Also, I've got some live look in at some recruits. We can get to that as well. I've got a trivia question, all kinds of good stuff today. I want to thank everybody for being here. Shout out to Matt. Always appreciate you dropping in. We'll certainly get into big picture stuff in terms of where this team is, what it can do in the ACC tournament, which starts May 24th in Charlotte. Gives Miami a few extra days, gives all the teams extra days to kind of get ready. I don't expect Miami to play on that 24th. That'll be for the lower seeds. Miami is guaranteed to be either the first seed or the third seed. They will lead the pool play. They're going to either start on the 25th or 26th when the schedule gets announced on Sunday. Full schedule will be out. Some games still to play in the ACC. Let's get right into this game. A lot of big stuff happening today. Miami puts up a 7 spot in the first inning on 3 home runs. They finished with 6 on the day. It's the most home runs in a single game for Miami since May 2019. Good to see the Bats wake up after being shut out for the first time last night against Notre Dame in the second game, losing 5-0. So Miami claims the series. You know, I felt like this is a big one for Miami. Notre Dame's a good team, certainly a team that looks like they're going to still be a regional host. Miami gets a win, gets that, just finishes on a positive. The win puts Miami 39-16 overall, 20-10 in the ACC. It's going to be, regardless of what happens the rest of the day, it's the most wins by an ACC team this year in conference play. Notre Dame loses, drops to 33-13, 16-11. Louisville claims the Atlantic Division. Notre Dame will be the 4 seed, and Louisville will be the 2 seed in pool play. The top 4 seeds are very crucial because you win the tiebreaker in these 3-team pods in the 12-team tournament. All 12 teams have already been decided. Just still some shaking up needs to be going on with the final seedings here. I'm just watching Doral Academy featuring 2 Miami commits. I'm watching, got my eye on that game. It's going on now. Miami commits. We will get to that later, though. Got a trivia question for you guys. We'll get to that. I'm going to show you the highlights of this game. Hopefully we can do that before coaches and players talk. But here's some highlights of the game in case you guys did not get a chance to see it.
Wasn't the lineup they used throughout the season, but as of late, that's what they've gone with.
Cole on the run, and that ball is gone. It's a home run for Romero. The left center field, and Miami strikes first. It's a 2-run homer for Max Romero.
And I'll tell you, Joe, it's been the story all weekend long. The ball just seems to be carrying well towards left center field throughout the weekend series, and Romero hits the ball well, gets it up, and that ball just kept on carrying, and little by little, it's out of the ballpark.
His 10th round tripper of the season. RBI's 51 and 52, and Miami scores first. They lead at 2-0.
Yeah, and again, it's programs to be able to be at home throughout.
Levenson with a drive to left. Ziska backing up, looking up, and it's a home run off the scoreboard. 4-0 Miami. Levenson with a 2-run homer.
Wow, Joe, what a start to this ball game for this Hurricane offense. Keep in mind, this is a team that did not look good at the plate yesterday. Just a few hours later, and the Bats have woken up. Rise and shine, Hurricane Bats. Afternoon's game.
First one is in there for a strike to Garcia. Ariel, a .258 hitter. Hitting out of the number 9 spot is the DH. Miami chases Finley here in the first inning. Runner is going, and Garcia with a drive to center field. Cole going back, and that ball is long gone. It's a home run for Garcia. The 3rd of the inning for Miami. Garcia with 2-strike pitch. Got him looking at call strike 3. Rosario brings it home. 2-2. A swing and a miss. He struck him out swinging.
and it just continues. You sink into the couch, the way I like saying. You just sink into the couch as that ball's gonna go.
Back to the wall goes Cole, and it's gone, a home run. Gutierrez homers for Miami.
Because when you look at the Virginia Tech team, they did not finish their series. We're gonna see another ball.
Romero toward the scoreboard, and it's gone, a home run. His second of the game. Burke with a drive. This one's got a chance. This ball is gone, another home run. High fly ball, center field. Burke to his right, Gutierrez to his left. Burke underneath it, and Burke squeezed the glove. And Davis with a liner into right field for a base hit. Gonzalez scores. Gutierrez will be held up at third. Torres looks in and brings it home. Check swing. Did he go around? Yes, he did. Strike three called, and the ball game belongs to Miami.
So there we go. You saw the highlights there. Once again, waiting for Gino DiMare and players. I do want to mention home runs. Max Romero hit 2 home runs. He goes 2 for 4, 3 RBIs. Great to see there. Other guys who hit home runs, Jacob Burke, Zach Levenson, and then freshman Gabby Gutierrez and Ariel Garcia. You know, those 2 freshmen with Garcia and Gutierrez, I really think these guys are giving something to the lineup. I want to talk to Coach about that. That's one of the questions I have that I'd like to ask Coach to address. Just, you know, how important that is late in the season for these guys to be stepping up the last couple of weeks, really taking advantage of their at-bats. Miami 16 runs on 14 hits, no errors, 2 left on base. Notre Dame gets 7 runs, 8 hits, 1 error, and 7 left on. Winning pitcher Ronaldo Gallo gets 1 out there in the 5th. Alejandro Rosario was pitching well at times, but couldn't get through 5 innings, even with the big lead. Kind of gets away from them there. 2 outs in the 5th inning, and they took him out. So his final line, 4 2/3, 5 hits, 5 runs, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. He does hit a few batters, throws 70 pitches. This is the second time this season where Miami's had a big lead and an opportunity for Rosario just to go through 5 innings to qualify for the win, and Coach takes him out. And I know Coach would certainly like to keep him in there, but you don't want this game to get away from him. And I think he does everything he can to help Rosario just by putting him out there. So regardless if Rosario can't get the win or regardless of all that, he is putting him out there. And I definitely want to get into this discussion with Rosario moving forward. I think it's a very interesting subject to talk about. It's something a lot of fans are very interested in just because of his up and down season, and especially now going into postseason play, ACC tournament, NCAA tournament. We will get into all that. That's certainly something I'd like to discuss because I find it very interesting. And we've completed the season. This is what it is, and this is the team. So good sign there. Once again, Miami gets 3 home runs in the 1st inning, all on 2-run shots. Romero gets it started. Zach Levenson 2 batters later. And then Garcia gets a 2-run homer there. So Miami's up 7-0, chased the starter. I thought it was good just that Miami, you know, obviously to have a 1st inning like that in a game you've got to win, certainly a big deal. So that was good to see from Miami. Trivia question for you guys. I'll give you the answers, but definitely drop this in. I'm curious if you guys know, there's been 4 Grand Slams hit by Hurricane players this year. Who are those guys that have hit a Grand Slam? Drop in the comments. I'll give you the answer after we do the interviews. But just something I came up with on this year. Maybe you guys know it. Maybe you don't. It's just interesting. I'm curious to see your comments and see what you guys have to say here. Once again, the big one for Miami, Virginia Tech, as we look in here. They jump on Duke 3-0 in the 1st inning, and Duke's not going to make the ACC tournament. One thing that I found interesting with this game with Duke and looking at them, they've actually won their last 4 series finales in the ACC, including the last 2 weekends when they were 0-2 going into it. So they avoided the sweep. So I found that to be very interesting. If you're looking for a positive, clearly Virginia Tech is a really good team, and they jump on them early on home run balls. So you see it here, 4-2, top of the 5th. In Blacksburg. We'll see how that goes. Definitely want to keep checking on that, as well as the ACC scoreboard. Miami's going to be the 1st seed in the ACC tournament or the number 3 seed. What's going on? Shout out. We got someone else in here. Why does it seem like the team always falters down the stretch? Miami just took 2 of 3 against a top 15 team in Notre Dame. I understand what you're saying. They're playing tough teams. They're playing tournament teams. It's hard to sweep everybody. And it felt like that's what it was going to have to take. I heard they let Friday's game get away from them, but taking 2 of 3, you really can't expect anything more against a team like Notre Dame, especially the way Miami's been playing. I think it's good they got this win, and the bats came alive. I thought that was good as well. Another thing that popped up today from a pitching standpoint, again, we'll get into everything with Rosario, but Alex McFarland, he's just pitching really well for this team, and we saw it today. 2 innings. I thought they were going to give him the win, but they didn't. They decided, the official score decides to go with Gallo. You get to make your own decision when a starter doesn't qualify, and Rosario didn't qualify by not going 5 innings. But McFarland faced 6 batters, struck out 3, just looked dominant, especially, it's not like the game was in the balance, but certainly it was 11-6 at one point, or 11-5 there after 5 innings. So, if Notre Dame could get it going, a few runs here and there, 2-run homer, 3-run, they're right back in it. So good for McFarland to step up and do well in those spots. I see Matt dropping in on the guesses on the Grand Slams. Once again, there's been 4 Grand Slams hit this season by Miami players. Who's had the Grand Slams? Still waiting for Coach DiMare and some players. I've got some questions I'd like to ask Coach DiMare about this game. Moving forward, definitely want to get his thoughts on starting pitcher with Rosario. So a lot of guys with multiple RBIs in this game, starting with Romero with 3. Levenson, I touched on all the 2-run homers. Dominic Patelli had a tough game yesterday, leaving 6 men on base of the 8 that were left on base by Miami. Disappointing performance by Dominic, but he does well. He gets that RBI single in the first inning. I thought that was good, just from a standpoint of some confidence with getting some results. And then he walks with the bases loaded there in the 7th when the game's already well in hand, but he gets a couple RBIs. I think that's good. You never want guys to go into big droughts or slumps at this part of the year. Gabby Gutierrez is going to be kind of the star of the series from a hitting standpoint with what he did all 3 games. Again, today he hits a home run, drives in 2 runs. He also reaches base all 4 times he was up to bat, with a base hit in the first, home run there in the 3rd, and then a couple walks, scores 3 times. So he's definitely got to be in the lineup in my mind. Personally, he's been kind of batting in that 7, 8, 9 spot. I'd like to see him move up even more. I think Dorian Gonzalez at that 6th spot isn't giving you enough at the plate. I'd like to see Gabby kind of move up there and kind of, provide a little bit more power, a little bit more production there in that spot. And Dorian's been starting all the games at second base when he's been healthy, when he's been back in there. They certainly like him. And all 3 of these guys, with Garcia, Gutierrez, Gonzalez, all 3 are true freshmen. And certainly it looks like they're going to be counting on these guys to produce in the ACC tournament and regional play when that gets going in a couple weeks. Al's definitely right. What a difference a day makes. There's no doubt about that. And the momentum of a starting pitcher. And also, we're talking about a night game and a day game. So there wasn't a lot of time to really sit on last night's loss, especially getting shut out. You never know how teams are going to respond. And it's not just a 1-game thing with what happened last night, but they've not been playing particularly well. They've been dropping series down the stretch. They lost the lead in the ACC Coastal Division for the first time in months. And you never know how a team's going to respond. And I thought it was big that they responded with the way they did today, and with the first inning, hitting the ball out of the ballpark. 6 home runs, once again, most home runs in a game for Miami since 2019. So that's great to see. But I think it was good, the 14 hits. I said that after last night's game. I'm curious to see if Miami can start getting some hits together, because they didn't have a lot of hits in the first game of the series. Last night, limited there as well, obviously in the loss, but getting 14 hits today. Multiple guys. I see 5 different guys with multiple hits every starter had a base hit in the game except for Yo-Yo Morales. And I think that's obviously disappointing. Struck out 3 times. You don't like seeing your best hitter, one of your best hitters, do that. But I think it was good everyone else did well. So we will get into that as well. Moving forward. Shout out to John. Glad you're here. Yeah, there's different things. One of the things, I don't know how much time we can get into this. One of the things that caught me early on with this team was, I look on, it's kind of this Pythagorean records. And if you can look at that, it talks about expected results based on run differential. And there was a point in the year, kind of midway through, I was looking at that in particular, and based on that number and that formula, Miami was outperforming their actual expected results, meaning they're based on their run differential, they were actually getting better results than the quality of play that they had based on this formula. So I always felt like maybe this isn't a team that's actually going to run away with things. Maybe things are going to kind of slide towards the end, and you're playing good teams down the stretch. Florida State, ranked team. Notre Dame, a ranked team. Those are 2 last series. So I think in terms of if there's a particular reason, I think that's one of the reasons the schedule got tougher. We've talked a lot about it, but the ACC figures to get maybe 9-10 teams in the NCAA tournament. For Miami to go 20-10 is certainly a big accomplishment. We've talked about the accomplishments the team has had, but especially with what happened last season. So I know that there's some games that you drop. I was looking at the top 10 scoreboard yesterday, and I think there were 3 or 4 other teams that also lost games yesterday. So losses happen in college baseball. Overall, Miami's sitting at 39-16. I think they're still in a good spot. They've got some guys that you count on with some good numbers, some good OPS numbers, some guys over 900 and 1,000. Almost all of their starters are over 800. And now you're getting these freshmen picking it up. Gabby Gutierrez picked it up over the last couple of weeks, particularly this last series, but Ariel Garcia over the last couple of weeks has been picking it up as well. So if you can kind of round out your lineup, get some production at the bottom of your order with some freshmen, combined with some guys at the top of the order who have been producing all year long, I think you've got a chance to really put it together. And you've seen with Miami's bullpen, they've got some arms there that make it really difficult for teams to face, where they can get a couple innings out of McFarland. Obviously, Gage Zeal's kind of slipped back this past week. He's not been as strong as he's been all year long, but Andrew Walters can give you an inning or 2. So they're shortening the game up. Carson Palmquist in there. Carson Ligon gives you a solid outing most games. So you've got one really good starter, really strong starter. He can beat any team he faces. And then you've got, really solid number 2. And then we will see how things work out with number 3 and number 4. But the only thing I would say is there's not a lot of teams in the country that are rolling out 3-4 starters and feel great about every time they roll out there. So I know it looks disappointing at times with what Miami has at their starting pitching, but also that's what kind of happens around college baseball. And going into this series, Miami was still top 4, actually 3rd in the ACC and conference games in ERA. Top 4, they're still towards the top in pitching, even if it feels like, they're dropping a little bit in their pitching. So that's something to keep in mind moving forward. And again, their guys at the top of the order are really producing. A guy like Max Romero has really been picking it up over the last month or so. And certainly, big performance today, gets 3 RBIs, 2 home runs. He's up to 11. Jacob Burke's up to 12 homers. Yo-Yo Morales did not homer today, but he's up to 13. Matt, you want the answer? I was going to wait till afterwards, after the interviews, but we'll give it to you. The Grand Slams, Lorenzo Carrier hit one in the first series of the season. Dominic Patelli hit 2 against Duke. And then Zach Levenson hit the other Grand Slam. So I know it's a tough one. Maybe not the guys you would have expected to hit the Grand Slams, but those are the 4 Grand Slams that have happened this year. Yeah, Arkansas, no doubt, Arkansas slipping a little bit. Miami's definitely on that top 8 line. They were number 4 coming into this series. You take 2 of 3. Got to feel good about that. So we'll see how things kind of shake out the rest of the weekend and conference play as well. Miami's got to do well. You got to figure when you're on that 7, 8, 9, 10 line to be a national top 8 seed. And that's what Miami's looking to do. Top 8. The reason why is you like that so you can host the super regional if you get to that far. I think without question, regardless of what happens in the ACC tournament, I think Miami has sealed up a regional bid as a top 16 team. We got Zoom calls starting up here. Give me a second. We should be getting started here soon, it looks like.
Recording in progress.
Max, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
We have Miami Hurricanes catcher Maxwell Romero Jr. If you have a question for Max, please use the hand raise function. I'll start with Adam Lichtenstein from the Sun Sentinel. Adam?
Hi, Max. Good game today, obviously. What is it like for you guys to end the season, regular season, on a high note like today?
Awesome. Yeah, awesome. That's all I really got. I mean, it's always exciting to come out on top, but to finish the way we finished, I mean, it just shows us, what we're made of, and I'm really happy that we were able to pull it together and just stack them up.
How important is it, after dropping a couple games to FSU, losing in the midweek game, to face a really good team and get 2 out of 3 heading into the ACC tournament?
I mean, super important. More for us as a team. For us, it was huge because, coming into this game, it could have gone anywhere and it could have taken us anywhere, but we came in mentally strong and it was a good game, I would say.
Our next question for Max comes from Patrick McCall of the Miami Hurricane. Patrick?
Thanks. Congrats on the win. What was your mentality going into your first at bat, or were you able to hit that home run, score Kafis? How did you barrel that ball up so
well? Truthfully speaking, I was just hoping to get Kafis in, no matter what it took. Ground ball through the middle, ground ball anywhere, anything. Move him over at least. Let Berg do the job, but just put the bat there and hit the ball pretty hard, and all I could really do.
Our next question comes from Christopher Stock from InsideTheU. Chris?
Max, you guys jumped on the first inning, obviously a lot of runs. Didn't have any runs, obviously, yesterday. I'm curious what was kind of said pregame, kind of for you guys just to jump out. What was kind of the mentality for you guys to have a strong start?
There was not much to be said. I think we all knew what the task was at hand, and we just took care of business the way we needed to. It doesn't take much to get this team going, and that's something that we take pride in, and we just know it's how it has to be. It's a winning culture, and that's what we continue to do.
Max, I'm curious, you personally, this past month has been you've been very productive at the plate. Is there anything that's been changed? Anything you've been working on? What's kind of led to the success with the production, extra base hits, driving and run, the whole thing?
Just seeing the ball, hitting it. Honestly, I'm trying to keep it as simple as I can. 2 hands on the bat for Gino. I think that's a big thing. But other than that, I think that's all really I could really do.
We'll go back to Adam Lichtenstein from the Sun Sentinel. Adam?
So I was just looking at the stats real quick, and the top of the lineup with you, CJ, Yo-Yo, Jacob, Zach. Obviously all having fantastic seasons. What's it like when you've got just a lineup like that, especially in the top part of the order, where it's just guys almost all batting over 300, all have power and can all do damage at the plate. What's that like? What's that mentality like for you guys?
It's scary to see when it really all comes together. I think that we as a lineup, we know that we still have way much more in the tank, and to know that we have so much more to offer, it's a scary thing. I think we all know that, and we can't wait till it unfolds when it needs to unfold.
Are there any other questions for Max? Our last question for Max comes from Christopher Stock from InsideTheU. Chris?
Yeah, Max, postseason play, ACC turn. Now it gets going. Kind of the keys. You've obviously been around a winning program before. Just maybe some messaging or kind of the keys for you guys to get the success moving into ACC tournament play in particular.
I think we just, as a team, need to take care of the three things: hitting, defense, and pitching. Take care of those three things, and the outcome is 90% in our favor. That's all we can control, and anything beyond that is out of our control. And we're going to continue just to do what we can in our control.
Max, thank you for your time and congrats on the win.
Thank you.
Zach, can you hear us?
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. We have Miami Hurricanes outfielder Zach Levenson. If you have a question for Zach, please use the hand raise function. We'll start with Christopher Stock from InsideTheU. Chris.
Zach, obviously you guys are waiting to see what happens with Virginia Tech, but the importance for you guys to win this series going into ACC tournament play, just big picture wise, can you speak on that, the importance of this one?
Yeah, I mean, obviously every game's important, but this game, all it's going to do is put us in a better spot if that's how it turns out with Virginia Tech. But if not, we're still going to go into the ACC tournament with the same mindset, and that's winning.
Can you speak the first inning? What's it like to be a part of that when it's going like that and you guys are getting runs? And obviously, if you could speak on your home run, what you saw.
Yeah, I mean, I think this team's a very hitting contagious team, and when everyone's seen the ball well, it goes well for us. And everyone just trying to have good at bats, and if we stick with that mindset, we put together a lot of runs, I think.
Our next question for Zach comes from Adam Lichtenstein from the Sun Sentinel. Adam.
Hi, Zach. Nice game tonight or today. What's it been like for you personally as a freshman to kind of break into the lineup, over the course of the season, and now you close out the year hitting close to 300, a handful of home runs? I mean, what's that just been like for you?
Yeah, obviously it's great personally. I just want to make sure I make the most of my opportunity, and that's what happens. And it's great to see the wins come in and us having a great season.
And you mentioned the team's kind of like the hitting's contagious. I mean, top of the order with CJ, Yo-Yo, Max, Jacob, you. I mean, 3 home runs today. I think 5 or 6 hits. Just that top part of the lineup. I mean, what's it like when you got those guys in front of you, setting you up for RBIs and kind of getting that hitting going and stuff?
It's great. We have a lot of good hitters on this team, and I think a lot of us play with a lot of confidence because there's so many good guys in the lineup, and that really helps everybody out. So, I mean, it's just really fun playing with everybody here.
Are there any other questions for Zach? Zach, thanks for your time and congrats on the win.
Thank you.
Meant to raise my hand, but actually raised my hand.
Gino, can you hear us?
Yep, I hear you.
We have Hurricanes head coach Gino DiMare. Gino, if you can start with an opening statement, and then we'll take questions from our media on the call.
Well, it was good to see us jump out in front. That was something we talked about before the game, just seeing if we've been playing from behind, it seems like, going back, I don't know how many games, even a game we beat FSU, I think we fell behind early in the first, and seem to be falling behind in a lot of games of late. And I know we talked about from the get-go, CJ getting him on base, and of course, top of the first, getting through the inning and not giving up a run, but also in the bottom trying to, let's see if we can get our top guy on and get it going. And oh my goodness, 7 runs and 3, I think, home runs, 2-run home runs. And it's a great start to the game to set the tone. And then of course we were able to, open it up some more with some more home runs. And, at the end of the day, very happy with the bounce back after losing last night, tough with everything going on with this number 1 seed thing. And guys kept their focus. At the end of the day, winning today is important because you want to win a series against a very good team in Notre Dame, which again, you're trying to stay in you'd like to stay in the top 8 right now at this point to help us in part to have the ability to host a regional and maybe a super regional. So I'm proud of our guys. The regular season, very, very good, and arguably the toughest conference in the entire country. And there might be 11 teams in the NCAA tournament in our conference, probably 10, maybe 11, which has never been done. And for us to be maybe a 1, maybe the top 1, maybe a half game out, It'd be 2 years in a row. We're a half game out from being the number 1 seed, by the way, which is amazing. But yeah, just proud of our guys. Great regular season. Now we move on to the ACC tournament and get ready for the NCAA tournament.
We'll open it up for questions. We'll start with Christopher Stock from Inside the U. Chris.
Coach, I know you have a confident team, but again, confidence after this win, the way you guys won it, a number of guys with hits, that has to feel good going into postseason play. What do you think this can do for your guys to win the series as well as the game?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's got to help the confidence. You know, we got shut out for the first time. I didn't even know we hadn't been shut out all year until I read that. But, you know, getting shut out yesterday for the first time and then come back and put 7 runs. Our sport is such a crazy sport. Oh, my goodness. But, you know, very good to see. I would think hopefully, you know, get some guys going. We got to get a couple of other guys going in our lineup. But most of the guys swung the bat good today. And you'd like to see that carry over moving on into the ACC tournament.
Our next question comes from Adam Lichtenstein of the Sun Sentinel. Adam.
Hey, Gino. I mean, at the top of your lineup, I was looking at it a few minutes ago. You know, CJ, Yo-Yo, Max, Jacob, and Zach. I mean, just seems like a really, really difficult, you know, start for opposing pitchers. I mean, how have you kind of seen them kind of all kind of come into their own this year? They're all having great years.
Well, I mean, you know, you mentioned those guys. In part, our lineup has been those guys, but with Eddie, the 2-hole, and then of course Eddie's been out and he's not able to come back yet. So we made that decision, I guess, the first game at FSU, where we slid. We didn't really want to put anybody to 2 and leave the line, so we just slid everybody up. And of course, it worked out well in that first game against FSU, but maybe not so much after. But I just think it's probably the best move for us right now. You got really arguably our best guys just coming at you right out of the gate. And yes, it's good to see him. We got to get Yo-Yo going a little bit. He's struggling a little bit, but I'm not worried about it. I did like his last couple at bats. He hit a ball hard, I know, towards the line that they made a play on, and he hit that ball really well. The sac fly to, I guess, right center field. But, you know, the guys at the bottom actually swung the bat well, and Gabby and, you know, Dom and Ariel. You know, you're talking about your 7, 8, 9 hole hitters, and you had 5 hits out of those guys and 6 RBIs from that spot. So, yeah, that's why we put up a lot of runs today. The guys you mentioned at the front and in the back of the lineup too did very well. So that's what you want as a coach, a hitting coach, a head coach. You want to try to have 9 guys, try as much as you can. It doesn't happen often, but when you got it, guys, all of them on all cylinders working, you can be a dangerous team. And so this is the time you want to try to get them all going, all confident, all giving taxing at bats, and you know, hopefully we can do that.
And then what have you seen from Zach in particular? I mean, he's a freshman. He played, I'm looking at, like, it's 46 games this season. So and started 30, 31, 32. But he's hitting for average, hitting for power. How have you seen him kind of grow, you know, in his first year here?
Well, he's a second-year freshman. You got to understand he did have experience. He's got experience. He's a JUCO guy. He's a JUCO guy that played 1 year JUCO ball. So he's experienced freshman with, you know, that it's got that asterisk with the COVID and all that stuff. But, you know, we recruited him. He's a guy that we brought in. We knew he was a corner outfield type guy that with power. He's a power guy, and he's a right-handed guy, and the ball carries as it did today, especially late in the year. Our prevailing wind usually blows out to left. And, if you got a right-handed guy that can got some strength and power and get the ball up in the air, I mean, even like today, some balls that are popped up will go out, which our balls were hit pretty dang good today. I mean, I think they would have gone out on any day, but there was a few balls hit today that were popped up really high that just carried out of the ballpark. So, but Zach's that kind of guy. He's got that power. He's got a good approach at the plate. It's one of our better approaches at the plate. He made a very good play in the outfield today, which was great to see, and he's improved, and he's a guy that works extremely hard. He's very coachable. He listens, great attitude, great teammate, and another big get for us, albeit not transfer portal, JUCO guy, but in our recruiting class, that one of the many guys that have stepped up this year for us.
Our next question comes from Patrick McCall from the Miami Hurricane. Patrick.
Hey, Coach, do you have any thoughts on Alejandro Rosario out there on the mound today? Had, you know, somewhat of an okay start out there, but gave up 5 runs. You know, what is his role do you think going into the ACC tournament? How do you see him going forward?
Well, his role is he's one of our starters. Yeah, I don't know. I thought he pitched better than okay. I will, maybe you can look at it that way. I mean, that's a very good Notre Dame team. They're good pitching staff. They're a good hitting team, and it's just a good team. I mean, they got a lot of guys back from last year's team, which was the best team in our conference, arguably. I think the one thing he's got to, command is he went inside and hit some righties, or if he wasn't going inside, at least he threw some balls inside to hit some right-handed hitters. I think they hit right. I don't know if he hit a lefty, but he hit 2 or 3 guys and walked a guy. He can't do that. We don't want to be giving free passes. He's a guy that does attack the strike zone, so that's got to be his MO, especially with the fastball, both sides of the plate, and getting the sink, and then, of course, working the changeup. So that's where he got himself into trouble a little bit. I mean, we ended up pulling him out after they hit a chopper that got through the infield, I think, and the ball wouldn't really hit that hard. But again, he's a guy that's battling through a lot of things. I think he's in a good place mentally right now, and I've got all the confidence in the world, and nobody's got more confidence in him than me, because I've stayed with him the entire year, and I truly feel like he's got some really good games ahead of him. I really feel that way, and again, I told him I thought he pitched well. He pitched well. It's just a kind of a tough situation. It was hot and it was humid, and he's facing a good team, and they got some balls that kind of went through, but he's got a command. He cannot be hitting and giving free passes and walking guys.
Our last question for Gino comes from Christopher Stock from InsideTheU. Chris.
Coach, you mentioned kind of the length of your lineup, having some guys. I mean, can you speak on what Gabby's given you this past week, but Ariel as well, the last couple of weeks, what these two guys have been able to give you guys and how important that is moving forward to this stretch?
Well, power comes to mind. Ariel hit the big home run, the 3-run home run, I think it was, against FSU. And then, of course, Gabby's hit multiple home runs the other night and then, of course, today. And both do have power. Gabby's got a really quick bat, short bat. Gabby's a guy that's got great instincts. He read a ball in the dirt from third. A lot of guys don't go on, scored at home on a ball that got away from the catcher. He knows how to play the game. Smart kid, got great instincts. And he's a good outfielder. And he's taken advantage of the opportunity. And Ariel as well. Ariel's done a good job. As a DH, it's a little hard being a DH. He's probably, he's not used to that. Those guys are used to playing in a position, but he's also stepped in and played some second base for us too as well. So, no, both guys have been great, and they both have been down in the lineup. And again, that extends your lineup. There's teams that have maybe 4 or 5 good hitters in lineups, and then there's some years you have maybe a few more, a few less, whatever. If you can have 9 guys that are swinging the bat really well, you can be a very, very difficult team to beat. And that's what you're always trying to do as a hitting coach. You're trying to get 9 guys on all cylinders working together and being hot at the right time, which is now. And, we've had a deep team. These guys have played earlier in the year off the bench. Maybe didn't see as much time as they'd like. They're seeing a lot more now with some guys that have been down. Guys like Eddie Villegas and Renzo Gonzalez being hurt. These guys have stepped up and done a great job for us. And it's a big reason why, we're at where we are right now.
And also, the Virginia Tech game just got restarted. Do you have plans to watch that or pay attention to anything moving forward today?
I can't control that. No, I'm going to go have dinner with my family and enjoy. Season's a grinding season. There's a lot of bumps and ups and downs throughout the year, and it's I'm going to decompress and enjoy the night, and then whatever happens. We can't control that. I'm happy that we won 2 out of 3 against Notre Dame. That we could control, and I'm happy about that.
Gino, thank you for your time and congrats on the win.
Thank you.
Recording stop.
So you heard Coach there. I was interested. Yeah, I was just while we were speaking, the Virginia Tech game just got restarted. He might not be paying attention to it watching, but we can pay attention to it. 4-2, Virginia Tech leads here, top of the 5th, hour and a half weather delay, but they're back at it. It'll be interesting to see if Duke can rally together and pull this thing out. Obviously, Virginia Tech, heavy favorites, and, expected to win this game. Either way, Miami's going to be, if they do not win, or if Virginia Tech wins, Miami will be the 3 seed in the ACC tournament. which begins next week in Charlotte, May 24th to 29th. Schedule will be expected to be released on Sunday, so we'll get into that, have some full things, some matchup stuff. Miami could be facing Florida State in their pool. Miami's a 3, so the 6 would be in there, as well as the 10 seed. Kind of look at the ACC scoreboard. Georgia Tech's putting up runs. There's a couple teams that are standing out to me down in the standings. We talk about the top 5 in particular: Miami, Louisville, Notre Dame, Virginia Tech. Those 5 teams are really good. Florida State with its pitching, if they could just get enough hitting, certainly they have a good team as well. We've seen that up close. But a couple teams standing out to me, and one of them is Wake Forest down there at the bottom. They are fighting to get into the NCAA tournament. They swept NC State, another team at the bottom, but Wake Forest has been doing well lately. I like how they've been playing. Wake Forest finishes 15-14-1 in conference play. They're a team that scores a bunch of runs. They're top 5 in the ACC in conference runs scored per game. So definitely keep an eye on Wake Forest. It's kind of a sleeper team. And then another sleeper team is North Carolina. North Carolina's been doing well. They come into this game 14-15 in the ACC. They're leading Florida State. They've won the last 2 games in this series, and they're actually 6-2 in their last 8 ACC games. So just keep your eye on a couple teams at the bottom there, North Carolina and Wake Forest, as we look at the scores. Louisville, the win there clinched the division, the Atlantic Division, so they'll be the 2 seed. The Coastal Division winners are assured 1 seed or the 2 seed. That's why it's important there. Yeah, so just looking at the scores, the big one is just waiting on the Virginia Tech game here. I want to get into a few things. Let's start with Alejandro Rosario. I said I wanted to speak on this. I feel like it's a hot topic for Miami fans, as he's been slotted into this number 3 starting role. He started the year, the first 2 weekends of the season, as Miami's ace. He ends up losing his spot there, was not a starter for a couple weekends. Then he gets back in there. He started the last 9 weekends as a number 3 guy. And Coach mentioned, he has a lot of confidence in him. And I spoke to him at one point. I'm really distracted here. I've got we're going to go to a live look in on this game. Hold on. I might show you guys. Okay. They just went. I'm watching the Doral Academy High School State Championship game. We'll get into a live look in. They just showed a bird on the field. It looked like it was attacking another bird. So I was very distracted at that. But we'll get into that. A couple Miami commits in that. We'll do a live look in. They've just completed their 4th inning. Doral's up 1-0 in the 6A state final. With Alejandro Rosario, coaches mentioned he's plenty confident in him. I thought there were moments, and that's what you're looking for with Rosario. Are there moments that gives you some idea of that he can be successful, put it all together, have a good outing? I thought there was some good stuff early on with his movement. I thought he was going inside, outside of the plate. One of the things that's disappointing, I every game, win or loss, I would always like to I would like to talk to the starting pitcher of the game. That's how it works in major league games. I got used to that, covering those games for years. And I wish we could have talked to Rosario, but I thought he was doing a good job locating his fastball on the inside-outside corner. He was doing a good job with his changeup, getting strikeouts at times. Obviously, things got away from him. He gives up a home run. He does hit 3 batters. So there's moments where it gets away from him. And that's what stands out. And what we've seen, though, with the coaches is, again, we saw today, they're not afraid to take him out. Look, if they give him a start, that's fine. But if he's not pitching well, they will take him out, and you've got to do that in postseason play. I think they will do that moving forward. One of the questions someone had during the game thread on the website was, can you trust Rosario moving forward with a start in the postseason? Look, it's going to be number 1, Carson Palmquist, and I think Carson, it's going to be pretty. There's not much to decide. Whatever team wins in the pool play, essentially one of those games matters more. The way the tiebreaker works, meaning if the 6 and the 10 face each other, the other 2 teams in the pool, and if it's all tied at 1, then Miami, the top seed moves on. That makes sense. Hopefully you guys understand that. So basically, Miami gets to wait and see which one of their 2 games matters more in pool play based on the tiebreaker. So Carson will face that team, and then they'll go with Carson Ligon on the other one. So games 1 and 2, I expect that to happen. Or if Miami wins the game that matters, essentially, they could choose to go with their number 3 or number 4 starter in the game that doesn't matter, which I expect to happen, and then save Ligon for the semifinal game, if that makes sense. It's just, they're definitely going to play it up. They're going to play the right guys. And again, Palmquist is always going to pitch the one that matters. And then we'll see how things kind of play out from there. I want to touch on this. Okay, if it's not Rosario as the number 3 guy, who would they start as the 3rd starter? Whether it's ACC tournament when you need that guy there if they get there, or NCAA tournament regional play because you need a 3rd starter. You know what? Let's do this. Let's go to a live look in. I've been teasing it a little bit. Let's go right to it here. So this is Miami commit 2023 Doral Academy shortstop, Adrian Santana. This is live in Fort Myers in the state championship game, the 6A final. He's a nice player. I really like him. I've enjoyed watching him in the state games here. Kind of electric guy on defense. Can steal a bag, has good speed, saw that already, and he can hit the ball well. So I've kind of seen it all from him. We'll see how he does here. Top of the 5th. Again, high school games are 7 innings, so they're up 1-0, look for a state championship. Takes a strike there, looks a little unhappy. But yeah, and the other commit, we'll stick with it here, is 2025 outfielder Michael Torres, who's playing center field, bats in the 2-hole. So he'll bat right after Santana here. That was a tough look there. It's got a 1-2 count. And Doral Academy has a shortstop at Miami right now. Dominic Patelli is from Doral Academy. So once again, this is 2023, so this is his junior season. But he's already committed to Miami. Inside pitch, looking to pull that ball there. Yeah, I wanted to make sure I had this right. So Miami's got other guys from Doral Academy. Gabby Gutierrez, freshman outfielder. Also freshman outfielder Renzo Gonzalez is from Doral. I thought Edgardo. Yeah, and Edgardo Villegas is also from Doral. So that Miami's got 4 guys from Doral. They've got a couple more coming in, at least 2. So Santana hits it deep there. Flies out to center field, but you see his power a little bit. Not the biggest guy, but certainly can drive the ball. He had a nice double in the semifinal game as well. He scored the game-winning run. Game goes extra innings in the semifinals. But here's Michael Torres, another Miami commit. He's a class of 2025, so this is freshman year. He comes into the state semifinal game, hitting over 500 for the year, so certainly a big-time hitter. Torres can also drive the ball. Nice couple of left-handed bats. Future Hurricanes here, the live look in. We'll do this, and then we'll kind of get back into the game a little bit. We'll talk more about Miami's starting pitching stuff. I've got some other stuff I'd like to mention, but Miami had 5 guys, 5 commits. Nice base hit up the middle, drilled the ball there. Nice at bat there. Michael Torres goes up the middle. You like that Selly right there? W on the Selly in the chat if you like that. But there we go. Michael Torres, a young guy. So that's good. We'll keep this one up here, the Virginia Tech game, so you can kind of see what's going on. And if anything happens in the Doral game while we're still doing the live stream, we'll get back to that. But definitely wanted to just show you guys that really quickly. Okay, here's what I want to talk about with if it's not Rosario, what do you do? Or what do you move a guy up to number 3 spot? Look, they've stuck with Rosario all year long. I've been very high on Alex McFarland as a guy. He started 4 times this year. but he's not started in a long time, for a couple months now. And he's done well. I think they like him in the bullpen. He went 2-1 with a 4.96 ERA as a starter. His last start was March 20th against Clemson. So he's not been in the starting rotation. I think they like him. I think the thing to watch for is Jake Garland. So Garland's been in that midweek role. And not as only has he been in that role, he did start out on the weekend at the beginning of the year. But the fact of the matter is he did not face any ACC teams all year long, either as a starter or out of the bullpen. Michael Torres just stole second base. We can go back in. Maybe they'll show a replay. I'll leave it here. See if they'll show replay. I don't know. With streams, you don't know how people do this here. But yeah, so Jake Garland did not face any ACC teams this season, so I don't think that they feel overly confident putting him out there for the ACC tournament. And in 2020, that was his first year at Miami. Obviously, nobody played any ACC teams with the shortened season. Oh, we got a terrible play there. Is Torres going to score? Did Torres score here? Yeah. Got the celebration. Firebirds all fired up.
Will get a strikeout.
So here we go. So Doral goes up 2-0. We'll go back to the Virginia Tech game. Jake Garland, 2020, did not face an ACC team. In 2021, this is regular season, and he did get a start in the ACC tournament against Florida State. So he had 9 games against ACC teams. He started 7 of those against ACC teams. He went 2-3 with a 6.88 ERA. I think with those numbers and the fact that this season they did not put him out there against any ACC teams, I don't think that they feel confident in his abilities to go against an ACC team as a starter. So I know Rosario has struggled, but like you heard Coach say, he still feels really comfortable and confident in Rosario, and he feels like some big games are coming up. I think that they'll stick with him. One thing I do think, if this happens in a Rosario start or any other start, what we saw a few weeks ago in the North Dakota State game, Jake Garland comes out of the bullpen because he didn't have a midweek game that week. Comes out of the bullpen, pitched 3 scoreless innings. So I think that they feel confident that they can do that with Garland, put him in that role. If it's either Rosario struggling, if they need long relief, I think that's the role Garland will be in because of the things I mentioned before. But definitely drop in the comments. Let me know what you think. What should Miami do with their starting rotation at this point in the season? Once again, I've been a believer in Alex McFarland, but what do you do? I mean, this is what the coaches have decided to set up all year. I don't know if you just throw out a whole new rotation or give guys other chances. The only other guy to earn a start this year, besides the 5 I've mentioned, Palmquist, Ligon, Rosario, Garland, and McFarland, all 5 of those guys. The only other guy to get a start this year was Jordan Dubberly, and I don't see them go to there. I think he would only get in there if someone's injured. The only thing I would say is they went with Dubberly April 5th against Florida Gulf Coast, and at that time they had an opportunity to go back to McFarland, and they didn't. So at that time they picked Dubberly. So maybe they just like Rosario or they like McFarland just out of the bullpen if that presented itself. So certainly a lot to discuss, a lot to think about, a lot to decide on, and that's what makes postseason play really interesting. Okay, here we go. Oh, we got to go back to the game here. We'll go back here.
Estrepo to the grassy knoll.
Oh, look at the slow trot. Look at Restrepo here. I thought he would have been at home plate by now.
There wasn't much doubt about it when it left the bat. 6 RBIs over 2 games now for that young man.
A rubber duck.
I want you to see this home run. Not a Miami commit, but definitely a home run there.
Yes, they give that when it hits a home run. You get that giant
Santana's
oversized
number
rubber
8.
duck. And it's all smiles for Restrepo, and rightfully so, as takes what looked, I think it was an inside fastball, and absolutely cleaned it out. Into the wind, mind you. That wind's blowing kind of in now from left.
We'll go back to it if they show the replay on the home run, but just a deep shot to left field. So Doural's up 5-0. Looks like Miami's going to get a state championship for its high school team. A couple of Miami commits. So Miami's got 5 commits in the state title games. In Fort Myers, Jake Kulikowski from Tampa Jesuit won a state title earlier today. They won in 5A. And then a couple guys go on the 23rd. They do their semifinal game. So definitely it's good to see Miami commits. Miami's got a lot of commits, and it's all the younger guys, not the 2022 class, but 4 of these guys are 2023 here, the state championship games. Here's that home run. Nice ballpark there. A fan getting a souvenir, so that's good to see. I want to get to a few more questions. We're going to wrap up this stream. I'll let you guys get back to it. I want to answer a few questions. If you have anything, I tried to address a bunch of things. Miami finishes its regular season today with a 16-7 win over Notre Dame. 39-16 overall, 20-10 in the ACC. Got to be happy with those numbers. Miami's going to be the 3 seed unless Duke can come back in this game and win. Miami will be a 3 seed in the ACC tournament. Once again, Miami 6 home runs today, most in a game since 2019. 16 runs, 14 hits, no errors, 2 left on base. A lot of guys with hits. That was good to see. Coach mentioned Morales, got to get him going. He did get that sacrifice fly there in his last at bat. So he goes 0 for 4, but he had 3 strikeouts and a sac fly. Obviously, you want to get him going, but he's shown that ability. I have his last. I want to take a look here. So going 4-2, going to the 6th inning there in Blacksburg. Nothing going for Duke in the top of the 6th. You know, Morales had this stretch where he had 6 straight games of multi-hit games, hitting 4 home runs during that stretch, 3 doubles and a triple. And this was from May 1st to May 14th. Since then, I don't have everything. I haven't pulled everything up. But since then, he went 0 for 4 against Florida State, 4 strikeouts, had a 3 strikeout game against Florida State. He struck out 3 times today. Let me pull up last night. He goes 0 for 4 with the strikeouts. So certainly the last 6 games or so since that hot stretch, really hot stretch, he's struggled here. And the only thing I would say is a lot of those numbers piled up against North Dakota State, not a tournament team, not a very quality team. And that's not what you want. You don't want to just pile up numbers against bad teams. You've got to do it against the better teams. Florida State and Notre Dame are 2 tournament teams. Certainly you'd like to see Morales do better in these series down the stretch, and we'll see how things go in the ACC tournament. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to answer some questions. I saw Kevin jump in here. Always appreciate you showing your support. How likely is he to come to Miami? Yeah, I think it's too early, but certainly I think these guys, I don't think it's like a Jeter Downs type. I don't think Santana's he's not that level of a recruit. But certainly a lot of things can happen as they move forward. But these are quality guys, both of those guys. As far as the name, image, and likeness, how would it affect the baseball program? I haven't heard anything to that effect. Anything going on there? Okay, I think that's about it. Once again, 6 home runs today, 2 by Max Romero. It's good to see him driving in some runs. 8 RBIs last 17 games over the past month, hitting 343. He's not hitting for a high average on the year, but the fact that he turned the corner a little bit, and he didn't really, when I asked him, he didn't address maybe some of the changes he's made, but certainly he's getting better results. So you got to be happy with that, especially if he's going to be batting number 3 in the lineup or number 4. Okay, let's go ahead and wrap this up. I want to thank everybody for being here. Once again, Miami wins 16-7. Renato Gallo gets 1 out to close out the 5th inning, gets a win, improves to 3-0. Jack Finley doesn't get out of the 1st inning, drops to 5-2. Miami puts up a 7 spot in the first inning and runs away from it from there. Keyed by 3 2-run homers. Romero gets one, Levenson, and Garcia there. Romero's up to 11 home runs on the year. Burke is up to his 12th. Levenson hit his 7th. Garcia is 5th, and Gutierrez is 4th. Gutierrez and Garcia, those two guys as freshmen, I asked Coach about it, but they're coming up big down the stretch these last couple weeks. You need that. And like Coach mentioned, with Villegas dealing with an injury, he was a starter every day, batting in that 2 spot. He's not out there, so they need other guys to step up. Renzo Gonzalez is a guy that they use as, he's only started about 10 games, but part-time player, but he's been out with an injury as well. So they've got other freshmen stepping up. It's good to see. They need that. I think another freshman, I think Dorian Gonzalez Jr. has to step up his production, especially batting in the 6th spot. If he's going to be in there, I think he's got to pick it up. His OPS under 800, one of the few guys under 800 on the team. So I think he's got to deliver more and produce more. Wrap this up. Doral Academy is up 5-0 over Pace in the bottom of the 5th, looking to win a state championship. I want to thank everybody for being here. Thank you, Kevin. Brandon's here. Always appreciate you as well. Matt, as always. John was in here. Want to make sure I don't miss anybody. Popping in on the chat. Daddy's Farm is here as well. And Al was here. Okay, we got everybody that I saw. Hopefully everybody else enjoys this video. Got more content coming on the way. Definitely want to thank everybody for watching, and take care. Looking forward to doing the next one. Definitely. Have a good day and take care.